Under recall, more than 500,000 Toyota Camrys. Now, the problem is a software glitch that can cause the vehicle's instrument panel to black out when it starts up. Federal regulators say that this issue can also knock out turn signals, hazard lights, and some warning buzzards. So the recall covers hybrid Camrys that are made between August of 2024 to June of this year. Dealerships say that they'll fix this issue for free. If you own one, you should be notified by mail no later than September 21st. The social media app Truth Social rolled out a new service that some customers are willing to pay up to $100,000 a month to have. The service is called Truth API. It lets clients see posts split seconds before the public does. For trading firms, that could be worth a fortune. Their algorithms allow them to respond quickly, including when President Donald Trump posts news that shakes the market. Some Democratic lawmakers are calling on the Securities and Exchange Commission to review if this product is legal. Well, Disney World is rolling out new solar-powered trash cans, and some visitors are not happy about it. The new trash cans will replace the park's iconic flat-top bins, which many guests say that they use as makeshift tables to eat off of. Disney says that the new cans automatically compact waste to hold more garbage. Some visitors are now calling Disney to add more tables around the parks. I think that should be done for sure.